The Chicago Bears add some really solid pass rushing talent as they signed defensive end Al-Quadin Muhammad from the Indianapolis Colts to a 2-year deal worth $10 million total. What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears free agency update video. If you guys want more of these, don't be sure to subscribe to my channel. I'll be reacting to every single signing the Bears make. And in this video, I'll be reacting to the Bears signing Al-Quadin Muhammad from the Indianapolis Colts. And this was a guy that I actually wanted the Bears to go after in free agency. If you guys remember my mock offseason video I released about a month ago, I had the Chicago Bears signing this guy to a cheap 1-year deal worth I think I said almost like $3.2 million. Now he got a little bit more than that. He got $5 million per year for 2 years, which still is fine in my opinion. That's still not that much money to pay for a guy that I thought was really underrated in this free agency market. So I personally like this move a lot, guys, because it gives us exactly what we need at defensive end in this 4-3 defense. And best of all, guys, he's coming at a pretty cheap price for a pass rusher. Okay, usually pass rushers cost a decent amount of money, especially one that was, fairly productive last year like Al-Quadin Muhammad was, but he went kind of under the radar. Okay, and he doesn't even have to be a starter for us with the money that we're paying him. We're only paying him $5 million per year. So if he wants to be a rotational pass rusher behind Travis Gibson and Robert Quinn, who are presumably going to be playing defensive end in this 4-3 front, that would be fine as well. He'd be a solid, situational rusher for us. Okay, if I read you guys his stats from last year, you guys are going to love it. So he had 7 sacks last year, 48 combined tackles, 13 quarterback hits, 7 tackles for loss. Started every single game, and he also had 37 total pressures, according to PFF. And the best thing also, guys, is that he already has familiarity playing under Matt Eberflus's scheme, okay, because he played there with the Colts while Eberflus was the defensive coordinator. That's probably why he came to Chicago, okay, to follow his defensive coordinator, a guy that took a chance on him and really helped him have a breakout season during his career, okay? Because if you look at his stats before last year, they really weren't anything special, okay? He was a 6th-round pick by the New Orleans Saints back in 2017, didn't really do much for the Saints, got waived in 2017, got picked up in 2018 by the Colts, and played there ever since Eberflus took over, okay? Didn't really do much at first for the Colts, only started 4 games the first 2 years. 2020, he started none of the games. He was a situational pass rusher, but then last year in 2021, he started every single game, and you can see his stats increased in practically every single category. So we're getting a guy that's still relatively young. He's only, he's going to be 27 years old during the season, so fairly young, still has a lot of potential, probably in the prime of his career right now. And if we can continue to utilize those athletic traits that he has on him, who knows, maybe he could be a starter for us down the road. I really feel like he has that potential. He's 6'4", weighs 250 pounds, but he's a really talented athlete. He explodes off the line. He has great bend, decent power on him as well. Obviously he's not like a Khalil Mack or anything. It would be nice to have Khalil Mack here, but as a rotational pass rusher, he could be a pretty good fit on our defense, okay? Because you need as many guys as possible rushing the passer. 2 is not enough. Right now, we only have Travis Gibson, and we only have Robert Quinn as, anything close to proven guys. Al-Quadin Muhammad could be that guy right behind them, and maybe down the road could even have a bigger role than that. The nice thing about this contract is that it's only 2 years for $10 million total. So if he doesn't work out, it's not that much money you're going to have to eat, okay? That's another solid thing about these signings that Ryan Poles is making. Practically all of them are just 1 or 2 year pretty cheap deals. So if it doesn't work out, who cares? But if it does work out, you can re-sign them to, whatever amount of money they want, okay, if they're having success in this system. And, like I mentioned, guys, already working with Matt Eberflus in the past, that is pretty big as well, okay, because the system is going to be new to everybody else besides Al-Quadin Muhammad. He already knows the hits principle, which I'm sure you guys have read about, have heard about from Eberflus's press conferences. He talks about that, nonstop. Muhammad can help teach the hits principle to everybody else on this defense. Travis Gibson, Robert Quinn, he could be a solid asset to those players. So having familiarity in the system is pretty big. Already having trust with Eberflus is pretty big as well. And on top of that, he's coming off the most productive season of his entire career. And even then, we're only signing him to a $5 million per year contract. So we'll see what happens, guys. Hopefully he's as productive as he was last year, and maybe even something on top of that, right? If he can get to, 8, even 9 sacks. If he can somehow get to double-digit sacks, that's a big ask. But if he somehow gets to double-digit sacks, that would be a steal of a contract, because usually these guys make a lot of money. Okay, rushing the passer is a coveted skill set, and he proved pretty capable of doing that last year. So picking him up on a cheap deal, I think that's a great signing for the Chicago Bears. There's still a lot of signings probably to come, guys. I know people are getting a little bit antsy, a little bit annoyed that Ryan Poles isn't signing any big name players, guys that, you know, casual fans would know the names of, but that's been the plan all along, guys. Okay, if you've been following along with his press conferences, he pretty much said what he was going to do in those press conferences. Okay, attack wave 2, wave 3 of free agency, and then build through the draft. In my opinion, that's probably the best way to build a long-term contending team. I know people wanted superstars, and I myself, I wish we got somebody, you know, like a Juju Smith-Schuster or maybe a big name on the offensive line. But right now, all we can do is try to trust the process, and hopefully it works out in the end. Let me know what you guys think about the signing down below in the comments, but as always, bear down.